Lots of posts and articles right now about the dangers of office chair butt. The articles all recommend a bunch of variations on bridges, squats, and lunges. But if your glutes are weak and they're not really firing, there's a really good chance you'll just use other muscles during those exercises, like your quads or your low back muscles. So we put together a series of exercises to first wake up your glutes and then exercise them and get them strong. First thing is, if you're just sitting on them all day, they've gone to sleep. So you need to give them a little tap, 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 wake up. And you can do that with a massage gun or a foam roller, or you could use the small pinky ball, although that could be a little bit intense. Let's start by waking things up with a massage gun. So first of all, find that side corner pocket of the glute and just follow that contour around. You'll want to keep your weight on the other leg, or maybe you're lying on your other side so that this can be nice and relaxed. So see, I'm going from kind of that little hollow indentation where your thigh bone comes up and meets your pelvis on the side, and then coming down and around toward the sit bone. And then your other option is your foam roller, that you're going to roll the glutes as thoroughly as possible, side and around to the back. The next thing you want to do is remind your brain where your hips even are with some joint circles. So knees are soft, and let's take the pelvis around, and same thing, feel how this is changing how we're weight bearing around the feet. Good, let's reverse that. And as we go the other way, notice, is the circle really a full circle? And finally, you can get into the exercises. Keep the thigh bones parallel to each other. We're not going to try to press super wide into the band. There's just a little bit of effort to stay parallel. And then let's put our fingertips right into our hip creases. Try to keep that really long line through the spine. Right where our fingertips are, you are lifting your fingertips up toward the ceiling. And if the fingertips stop moving because the hips are no longer pressing them higher, that's the end of the motion. I want us to be sure that the middle doesn't overtake and lift itself into an arch, right? And then right where the fingertips are, start to crease there to bring yourself back to tap that neutral sacrum to the mat. So let's just be so specific about moving from the crease of the hip. We're lifting it. We're opening up the hip flexors fully. Give a really good glute squeeze to just get that as open as possible. And then it's like you're trying to pull your fingertips back into the hip joint. Yeah, by dropping really specifically back through that spot. Exactly. Yeah, so the spine is just staying long and neutral through the lumbar. Biggest glute squeeze available to press those hips open, and then pull the fingertips back through. This looks great. Every now and then you might just glance toward the thigh bones and see that they're maintaining their parallel, nice and stable. Fantastic. Let's go one more time. When we get to the top, we'll stay a little while. Again, thigh bones are still just parallel-ish. We're still being very specific about pressing the hip crease as high as we can. See if the glutes can squeeze any tighter in the interest of pressing the hips open. 10, 9, feel the sit bones really running into the backs of the thighs. 6, 5, 4. Now keep all this strong glute contraction super, super tight, and let's articulate one vertebra at a time. Glutes are still squeezing as we come onto the waistband, and then the glutes release. So whichever direction of block, whatever height you need for your knee support, setting up in our lunge position. Once you have your weight on that back knee, let's stack up, head over hip over knee, and from there find your 90 degrees on the front leg. Let's think about our front foot. Let's pick the toes up, fan them out, lay them back down. So you got really solid full footprint. And then from the pelvis, let's hinge forward and possibly slide your body weight, center of gravity forward a little bit. So we really feel that we're into that front foot. Back knee starts feeling a little bit light, so we can rise up and then see if we can tap that knee so lightly down to the block. Yeah, but if it's uncomfortable for any joints to come down that low, just see what we can do. But you have it as your target. You're on your way to it. Yes. And we want to especially feel the drive through that front heel bone directly down into the ground. But can we also have full ball of the foot connection to the ground and our toe pad activation, resisting the urge to kick really hard with those back toes. Try to hang loose with the back leg, drive through that front leg. Couple more. Okay, last time up, let's come halfway down, whatever halfway is for your range of motion. Abs are super strong. And then just gather the arms back to airplane. So they're kind of lining up with the back. And then let's give the pinkies a little backward pulse back. And with that, we can squeeze the shoulder blades for 8, 7, opening the collarbones, 5, 4, 3, 2, one more big squeeze, and then hands find your chair, press through that heel. Let's rise. Beautiful. Let's take a little walk around the room. And we'll come right back to our spot. Okay, find your stack. Front leg goes out to 90. And be sure, the 2 feet, we're on our train tracks. We're not getting crossed up onto a tightrope. We have our width. We keep our alignment as we tip forward. Go ahead and give those toes a lift, spread them out, lay them down. All right, here we go. Drill down with that front heel. And then barely tap that knee to the block. Good, yes, yes, yes. So we're grounding through that front heel. Can you feel your navel, your pelvic floor lift, hover? Yeah, it's almost like your center is picking itself up, making the job of that front leg a little bit easier. Yeah, and again, can that back leg just almost feel kind of loose and dangly? In theory. That's the idea. Yeah, and just keep zeroing in on that front heel. The more we can kind of lean into it, get the center of mass more over it, the back leg can feel a little bit softer. Breathing, just a few more here. Good. 2 more. Drilling down. Controlling to the tap. Okay, one more time. Coming up. Halfway down. Nice long spine. Let's line the arms up in an airplane. Good. Let's pulse those pinkies backward. And we're also reaching through the fingertips to reach the shoulders out of the ears, right? So it's very low shoulders as we pulse back. Okay, final squeeze. Hold shoulder blades tight together and grab the chair. Come on up, walk it around. Let's bend the knees to 90. Drop your heels together. You might also nudge your knees a little farther apart, totally up to you, but we're in a bit of a frog position here. Heels together, toes turned out, knees apart. Okay, let's be sure we have that easy anchor of the pubic bone. Start squeezing the glutes first before you think about movement. Once the glutes are squeezy, intensify that to try to float your heels toward the ceiling. Thigh bones get lighter, soften into the ground. So if you just do the glute squeeze and nothing moves, that's totally fine. We just want to be sure the pubic bone is staying grounded and we're just squeezing the glutes as tight, tight, tight as we can. If it feels hard to move, that's when you might push the knees a little wider apart and see if that seems helpful. And you could also just do the squeeze with straight legs. Beautiful, just a few more times here. And again, as you squeeze, part of the squeeze is pushing the tailbone so long. Awesome, and 2. And last one, squeeze and hold, squeezing tighter, tighter, tightest. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax everything down.
Takes a lot of focus to do a bridge without involving the low back muscles to really keep your core firing. And if you haven't mastered that, and you jump to a single leg bridge, then for most people, it's going to be all low back muscles all the time. So here's a variation for a single leg bridge that makes it very difficult to recruit your low back muscles, and you'll really notice the difference.
But we're going to stay in neutral on the sacrum. We're going to bring one knee in, really let the hip crease fold up deeply, and just see how much can we squeeze in without letting the low back get totally smushed into the mat. Now tune into your footprint that's on the mat. Feel the heel bone, feel the ball of the foot. Let's maybe lift the toes, spread them out, lay them back down. Feel the toe pads. Okay, now that whole footprint, we're gonna start to deepen it down into the ground to gradually float the pelvis off the floor. And then same thing, as we lower, can we land exactly on the neutral sacrum? Because we're holding onto the knee, it would be easy for this to turn into a tuck and roll. So we're rolling the pelvis out of the floor and rolling back down. But can we keep that long neutral and just float the weight of the pelvis out of the ground? And we know we stayed in neutral because we're able to tap exactly down to the neutral sacrum, lightly, and right back up. Perfect. So we'll do a few more. And now we want to check on the shoulder blades. Do we have all of our weight on that opposite shoulder blade? Or can we feel pretty balanced across the two? Of course, that's all in the core. 2 more times here. Gorgeous. 1 more time. And we're going to hover and hold and breathe. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, land in neutral, but then hug both knees wide to the shoulders and allow the pelvis to tilt, flattening the low back, maybe a little rock across it side to side. Awesome. And then as we set our feet back down, we're right back to neutral pelvis. And then stay tuned into that as we get our second knee folded, being sure we're staying on neutral sacrum, not tucking onto the low back. Feel that ground heel, feel the ball of the foot, lift the toes up, spread them out, feel all the toe pads, and that whole footprint starts to deepen, deepen, deepen into the ground, and the pelvis just floats up in one piece, and slowly lower, exact center of the sacrum, tapping the mat to go right back up. Yes, good. So really taking our time, being very gradual about coming into and out of the ground so that we can work the balance as we go. And speaking of which, let's notice the shoulder blades. Can we really feel like the weight is equally across the two? And we're landing right on the center of the sacrum. Yes, 2 more times. And next time we float, we'll hover and breathe. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Float to the center of the sacrum and then hug those knees wide. Let the pelvis tilt. Maybe turn that into a happy baby. Yeah, just easy release right here. Awesome.